Hey guys, so here we are, Aletheia entering a new and a very unique season. For the next few weeks and probably even months, we will not be allowed and it will not be possible for us to meet in person, to hold our Sunday services, to hold our small group gatherings. And how long it will be like this, no one knows. Yesterday I was picking up the stuff from the office just before Munich went into an official lockdown, and I had to pick up some stuff that we will need here to record the sermon, some equipment and these kind of things. And to be honest, I really felt like we were closing down the church. For the last few months, since we moved to this new place, things had really been moving in the right direction. As you know, we have been really working hard to build community, to increase the time that we spend together, and we really saw the momentum. We saw that everybody is on board. We saw that everyone was really putting effort into sharing life with each other, praying for each other, spending time with each other, all these things. And it was wonderful. And the place was, of course, very important for that. We can have fun together there with the kicker table and these kind of things. We saw that people stayed back longer after the service. And that was all exactly what we had envisioned. And it really felt like we were really in a great way moving forward and moving closer towards the vision that God has given us for this church. And then suddenly, in the midst of all of that, everything now has to stop for an indefinite amount of time. To me, it really felt like we are giving up, and it felt like this church is about to close down. Of course, I know that's not true. But it really felt like that at this particular moment, when I picked up all this stuff, when I was in the empty rooms, and when I knew I'm taking all this stuff now to our home for the next few weeks, and I have no idea when we will be back, and when that day comes, who will be back. If some of us will be affected by this, if some of us will get sick, some of us decide to leave the country because it's too dangerous, and all those kind of thoughts were going on in my mind. I don't know about your emotions right now. Maybe some of us think like, well, not a problem. As long as I can listen to the sermons, as long as I can call each other, text with others, I'm totally fine. And so this is not really bothering me. And so I'm totally cool with this. And maybe some of us really feel isolated right now. And we feel alone. And we feel like there's no one. The church isn't really there for me, or cannot really be there for me right now. My guess is that all of us go through these kinds of emotions, ups and downs, over the next few weeks. Sometimes we feel better about it, and sometimes we feel pretty bad about it. So here are a few things that I want to encourage all of us. The first thing is, stay connected. Reach out to each other. Call each other. Text each other. Pray for each other. Communicate with each other in whatever way is still possible, even though we are facing the government regulations. We want to make sure that nobody feels alone in this season. And so if there is an opportunity for you to share with each other, call each other, Skype, whatever is possible for you, please do it. Don't wait for someone to call you. Pick up the phone, reach out to someone, and ask someone, hey, I want to pray with you. I want to hear how you feel. I want to know what's going on in your life right now. Please do that. Reach out to each other. And even though we have limitations of not being allowed to physically meet each other, we can still reach out to each other. And we can still be the church for each other. Because God is bigger. And He can work in our lives, and He can build a community, the Christian community here in this city, even though we cannot physically be in the same room right now. The other thing that we will do to keep everyone connected, we will still record sermons and we will make them go live every Sunday, 3 o'clock. So I want to encourage you, especially if you have family, that you listen to these sermons together at the usual time, discuss them with each other afterwards. If you're by yourself, then please still block that time in your calendar. Say at 3 o'clock, I'm going to listen to the sermon. When it goes live, I'm going to listen to it. And then afterwards, you can call someone. You can talk about the sermon with someone. You can pray with someone. And we can't do that in our usual room right now, but we can still do it through technology. So I want to encourage you, don't just think like, okay, I'll listen to the sermon whenever. If it's possible to you, keep the routine and say at 3 o'clock on Sundays, I'm going to listen to the sermon. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk with someone. I'm going to pray with someone about what I've just heard. The other thing that I want to say to all of us is really look for opportunities in this unique time. Some of us, maybe many of us, have more time right now. Some of us are working less. Some of us are working from home. Some of us are not traveling because usually maybe we travel more. Right now we don't because of the lockdown. And so some of us have more time. Probably most of us. Use the time. Use the time and spend the time with God. And let this be a season when you say, well, I can't go out. I can't do my hobbies. I can't do the things that I usually do. So I'm going to spend time with God and make use of that. It's also a season when many people ask questions. I've already heard of people who now wonder, like, what's going on in this world? What's happening? Why is it happening? Maybe people who have a certain understanding of God make the connection between the virus and God, but they're really wondering, like, what is God doing? Many people, especially if their job is in jeopardy, if their income is in jeopardy, they really start asking questions like, what is my life all about? What am I supposed to do with my life? Where do I go if I get the virus now and if I die? Where do I go when this life comes to an end? A lot of people ask really good questions in this unique season. And that's where we come in. That's where we can give answers. People who maybe a month ago would never have thought about the church, would have thought about Jesus or listening to what we have to say. Now suddenly they're open. And I want to encourage all of us to really seek these kind of opportunities and seek opportunities to talk about Jesus. Again, maybe we have colleagues. Maybe we have people who write us emails and ask us questions. Maybe we call people on the phone and we realize they are really worried right now and they are concerned about what's going on. Let's be the church and let's see this time as an opportunity to say, I'm going to share Jesus with you because now is a unique opportunity. We know from Matthew 24 that in the last days, pestilences will come. Jesus predicted that one of the signs, the beginning of birth pains of his return, will be that there will be many pestilences in various places. This is the time. We did the series on the end times a few months ago, and I shared with you that I'm absolutely convinced that we are living in the last days. Doesn't mean that Jesus is coming back next year or in 10 years, and I don't know if we will be the generation to actually see his return. But I am absolutely convinced the time between Jesus' first coming and now is much, 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 much greater than the time we have left before Jesus comes back and establishes his kingdom. I don't know when exactly, but what's happening right now is absolutely in line with how I interpret the signs of the end of the age. Jesus is coming soon. And so let's get ready. Whether we see his coming or not, I don't know. But let's get ready. Let's make sure that when he returns or when we are going to meet him face to face, we will be ready and we will be confident to be able to see him face to face. And he will be able to say, and he will say to us, well done, good and faithful servant. Let's make sure that we are those kind of people. We also know from Romans 8 Verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. It's hard to see that right now. It's hard to see when we are locked down, when we are in this difficult situation, to think like, what good can come out of this? But here's where faith comes in. Here's where we have to say, I trust in this verse. I trust that what God says is true. And I trust that this verse, this promise, is also true. God somehow will use this coronavirus. He somehow will use this very difficult situation for something good. Something that will be good for us, and something that will bring glory to his name eternally. So let's stand on this promise. Let's trust God. Let's be his people. Let's make the most of the opportunities that we have right now, the extra time that we have, the people who are worried right now, that we can reach out to them, all these things. Let's make the most of it. Let's make ourselves available. Let's not grumble. Let's not just be negative about the whole thing and think like, God, this is horrible. But let's really go to him and say to God, God, what can I do for the glory of your name in this special season? And when we ask him that, I am sure he will reveal things to us that we never thought were possible, and he can use us in ways that we never thought were possible. So, Father, thank you for your peace, thank you for your joy, and thank you that in this special season we don't have to be like everyone else. We don't have to be panicked, we don't have to be afraid, we don't have to be concerned, because we know that your promises are still true. So Jesus, we trust in you, and we ask that you will give us faith, and we ask that you will help us to make the most of this season, to really use it, and that we will see the special opportunities that we have in this season, and that we will use it, that we will step out in faith, and that we will be able, Lord, to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in our lives because of the circumstances we are in. So Jesus, thank you for being with us. We love you and we trust in you. In Jesus' name, amen.